I've never made a video on YouTube before, but I've been wanting to make this video for a while, so I don't know if this will be the first one that I upload or not, but just letting you guys know, like, right off the bat, like, most of my videos are probably gonna be nothing like this, or about this. I mean, some of them might be, maybe, but, like, as you can see, I'm more of a interested in pink person and stuff, so a lot of my videos will probably be about that. But nonetheless, I did want to talk about this because this is a video I've been wanting to make for a long time. The topic of this video is going to be shadow people. And the reason is because I actually had a sighting when I was 21 years old. So this was a long time ago. I'm 34 years old now. But that was probably, like, you know, the only time that I've ever seen, like, what I would consider an entity. But at the time, I didn't know that's what it was called. I didn't know what it was at all. I just, like, knew how to describe it to people. And I described it to people for like years, but I just had never seen or had never heard of anything that looked like what I saw. And I will describe what it looked like, and I will tell you guys my story. But I just want to go over first, like, you know, the reason why I'm making this video. It's mainly because, well, first of all, I want to, like, tell my story and put it out there. Another reason is because I'm actually really interested in this topic, not just, like, the topic of, like, shadow people or whatever, but just, like, paranormal things and like UFOs, or, I mean, I think it might all be related, and, you know, maybe I'll get into all that another time, but that's not what this is about. This is about my experience, and kind of, like, I want to go over, like, my thoughts and stuff of what I, you know, throughout time, and, like, how it changed over time. So first I'll tell the experience, just how it was. So this was when I was 21. I didn't have the car at the time, so I actually worked around, like, I want to say, like, a 10-minute walk from my mom's house, and I was living with my mom at the time. And I worked as a waitress in just a sports bar or sports restaurant type thing. And I will say where this was. This was in Fairfax, Virginia. And I mean, I'll just, like, show you guys kind of pictures of the walk that I kind of did-ish, and I'll post pictures of it, like, around here. I don't know how this works, but yeah, so anyway, so I was walking back from work, and it was around, like, 5 p.m. or something. And so, you know, if anyone, because people have asked me, like, oh, you know, were you, like, stoned or something? Like, no, it was, you know, 5 p.m., middle of the day type thing, like, sunny, from what I remember. Like, so, like, I could see really well and stuff, like, you know, and, so I was walking to my house and, you know, doing the walk that I did every day when I walked back from that job. And I'm, you know, just walking by this trail of, like, a forest, I guess, but it was like a small chunk of forest, like a trail, right? And this trail was right next to a street with, like, I think at least, like, 2 or 3 lanes. Like, it's a pretty big street. It's a highway. So, you know, I'm walking, like, right next to the street to my left, trail to my right, and then I heard leaves moving. So, you know, I thought maybe, like, there was an animal or something. So, you know, I looked to my right, and the second I look to my right, I just see, like, the silhouette of, like, a man. He was maybe around, I want to say, like, 6 to 6.5 feet tall-ish. But if I were to say, like, the part of his body that I saw, I mainly saw his upper body, and part of that was because he was kind of, what he was doing, he was sprinting. He was sprinting extremely fast. Like, I wouldn't say that it was inhumanly fast, but, like, it wasn't humanly fast, because there's no way that somebody could sprint that fast through the, like, trees and the branches and stuff like that. So it was sprinting extremely fast, like, through the trail, but not the part where people run. Like, that part was, like, further into the trail. This was just, like, trees and stuff, and, like, bushes. And it was sprinting extremely fast. Like, I would say, like, a human could sprint that fast, but, like, that would probably be, like, as fast as a human could sprint. Like, that's how fast it would be. That's how I've described it to people. And in terms of the way that it looked, it, you know, like I said, it was a silhouette of a man. It had no, like, features whatsoever. It was just a silhouette, and it was, like, black. Like, as black as it gets. Like, the way I was describing it to people was like, it almost like it didn't reflect light. Like, it was during the day, so I feel like, you know, like, even if this was somebody with, like, some kind of morph suit or something like that, which is what I was trying to describe it to people as, I was like, just imagine, like, somebody sprinting with, like, a morph suit on, or, like, a gimp suit, or something stupid like that, you know, like, in the middle of a trail. Like, that's what I saw, right? But the only difference is that even if they were wearing something like that, I feel like it would reflect light from it, and, like, what I was seeing, it was just, like, pitch black. Like, it was, like, the blackest black that I've ever seen, you know, like, the kind of black that you see when you're closing your eyes in, like, a black room with no light. And so it was weird, and, like, I really felt that it was, you know, like, definitely, like, something. Like, it wasn't, like, I don't know, I didn't know what the hell it was, honestly. I had no idea. Like, no idea. I described it to my friends, I had no clue. Like, I had never heard of anything that looked like that. So, I had no idea. But, so I didn't really expect that I would ever find out anything about what this thing was either. Because, like, I had never seen anything like it. I had never heard of anything like it. So, you know, I kind of just over the years, like, I would tell the story from time to time, but I never really, like, you know, spend much time researching it or anything like that. Because I didn't think that, I was ever gonna find out, like, what it was, you know. But fast forward to, like, a few years later, I was doing one of those rabbit holes where I'm just, like, looking into just random creepy shit, and I was like, hey, why don't I, like, try to find out, like, what that thing that I saw that time was. And, you know, I tried to, like, research, like, cryptids, because I was like, what the fuck be, like, sorry about the language, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I want to put bad language in my channel or not, but, whatever. Anyway, so, yeah, like, I was doing research on cryptids, you know, like, a few, I don't know, I want to say, like, 5 years later or something like that, and, I couldn't find anything that kind of resembled what I saw. Like, I heard, I don't know, I was like, Bigfoot, and I was like, no, like, it wasn't shaped like what people say Bigfoot is shaped like, and also, you know, it was shaped like a person, and, you know, like, the rake or something, like, there was, like, other cryptids that I saw upon looking up cryptids, and, you know, none of them resembled what I saw, so I just kind of gave up. I was like, okay, like, whatever, you know, anyway, and then forgot about it again, and then fast forward to, again, a few years later, and I was at my friend's house, and we were all hanging out, and there was, like, a few acquaintances there that I had, you know, like, hung out with in events and stuff like that a couple times, but I, you know, wasn't super close to, but we were just, like, talking about random stuff, and then one of the girls, like, mentioned that, like, she liked to look into, like, paranormal stuff, like, shadow people and stuff like that, and this was the first time I ever heard this term, shadow people. So I was like, you know, what is that? I was like, what are shadow people? And she was like, oh, you know, it's kind of like it's kind of like the shape of, like, a person, but it's like people just kind of, like, see it in the corner of their eyes and stuff like that. I don't know. And I was like, what I saw, it wasn't in the corner of my eyes, it was, like, with full, you know, frontal, I looked and saw it. But what this girl said, it sounded kind of, like, maybe more similar to, like, anything that I had ever found that, you know, similar to what I saw. So yeah, so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go home and research that later. So for the next, like, couple days, I started, like, researching things about shadow people and looking up for videos and stuff like that. And, you know, I saw a lot of videos out there. Some of them looked not similar to what I saw, and some of the things I heard was not similar to what I also saw, but then I saw some videos that, like, quite literally looks very similar to what I saw. And I did find a couple videos where this, you know, shadow person entity or whatever was, like, sprinting, like, really fast, like, on sideways, kind of like how I saw it. So, you know, I was like, that's crazy, you know, like, that's actually insane that, you know, after all these years of having no idea, like, what this was, and like not really knowing like what to search for. Like suddenly this term comes up, and now I know what to look for. And so yeah, so that was really cool, and I started looking into that. Now I for a few years, the last few years, I kind of like at least knew how to like to refer to that term, shadow person or whatever. So I'm thankful for that, but I did still didn't learn much more about it, except for like research about the topic and stuff like that. I do want to say that there's one researcher that I'm very thankful for, and I don't remember his name. I was trying to figure it out right before this video, but I forgot like his channel or whatever. So I will find his name, and I will write it right here or something, or say it. I will make myself say it later, so to give because I want to give him some sort of credit or whatever. But this person did some like documentary series, it seems like, about shadow people, and I learned so much from this guy. Like his documentary series, like, really awesome. Like I learned a lot from that, and like from what it seemed like, from what he gathered, like a lot of the things that he talked about like kind of lined up with what I saw. Like some of those things were that like apparently there's a lot of sightings where they're seen running really fast, so that's a whole feature of them. Apparently they can be really fast. Also, like, it seems kind of like they're often sighted in like places that are known to be haunted and stuff, like, which makes you kind of wonder, like, what could they be, like, now I know that people say that some places where there's like hauntings and stuff like that, like other kinds of there's just energy field that can attract other things like UAPs or phenomenon of different sorts. So like that's a possibility that I'm not saying it's a ghost, but like it could be, right? Like that idea started kind of forming in my head, like maybe it is a ghost. Maybe, like who knows. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that guy. And the other thing I want to talk about is that I did actually try to research the area where I saw this thing, and I didn't really find anything like in the past, right? I was like, oh, maybe there's some crazy story in the street or something happened that like caused this to happen. So I tried to like research that, but I didn't have any luck in the past. And then something kind of crazy happened like around 2 weeks ago. I decided to research it again, like the area, but this time I decided to search it with like where it only showed articles before the year like 2000, because I was like, okay, well maybe like that can narrow it down to like when the internet wasn't as like widespread. And then upon doing that, I found I found several things. Like I found like some car crashes like in that intersection, but it didn't really seem like because in my head I'm like thinking this might be a man. It's a shape of a man, so like I don't know, like I don't think it would be a woman or a child, right? And I did see that there was a car crash there where there was like a child that was killed, but like and then I thought maybe the driver, maybe like I saw the driver, maybe he's dead now, maybe just whatever. And then I even tried to see if this driver was like still alive. Like anyway, I just went in a whole rabbit. I ran into Thomson Family Cemetery, which I had never heard of before. And then I looked that up, and turns out that like right across the street from where I saw this thing, there's apparently a cemetery that was a family cemetery, and there were burials there from the late 1700s to like 1910 or something like that. So like these were older graves, and back then this area was like not an urban area like it is now. It was rural, and it was just woods, and the land belonged to the Thomson family for these years. And then eventually they sold part of that land, and that's how like the street was built and everything, and the street was expanded and so on. So anyway, long story short, like there was a cemetery there, and I will include like photos of it that I found online. But I found out that there's a cemetery there, and apparently like there was a war. Like one of the Thomson family members was a war prisoner that was captured for a while, and he died from being ill from that. and his body was taken there and buried there along with his family members. Then I also found out that it's possible that some of like their slave people that worked for them were also buried there, like their slave families. I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. You know, I never knew the cemetery was there. I went and asked my mom and I was like, hey mom, like, did you know this thing was there? And she was like, yeah. I mean, my mom knew about my story, but I just don't think she ever, well, first of all, she doesn't really care about all this. Like, second of all, like, you know, she probably thinks I'm crazy. I mean, she does for this. Both of my parents do, actually. But regardless, you know, I'm me, and I'm gonna make this video because it happened to me. But yeah, like, turns out my mom knew about this, but, you know, she never, you know, put it together or thought that, like, oh, maybe, like, she saw ghosts or something, like, whatever. Like, and honestly, like, in the past, like, when I was in, like, 7th grade or something, I actually lived, like, right next to a cemetery, like, where, like, my window was, like, I saw the cemetery from my window, and I never saw anything weird or was scared or anything weird, you know? So, like, in the past, like, even if I knew that there was, like, a cemetery right there, like, that wouldn't have rang a bell or scared me or anything, because I've seen and been in situations like that, and I've just never seen anything before. So you know, like, that wouldn't even have rang a bell for me unless, but it did ring a bell, you know, after finding out, after all these years, like, finding out this information. And, you know, I will link some of these articles, like, on the comments, I guess, or whatever it's called, so you guys can see it if you're interested. But very interesting. I never knew, and I guess, like, my conclusions now is that, you know, it might be a ghost. So I think I just maybe saw a ghost, like, maybe that's what they are. And I don't know for sure, you know, like, I don't think anyone knows for sure, but I mean, just, it's possible, and it's, like, the only kind of, like, possibility that I guess makes more sense of, like, maybe that's what it was, with the stories and everything, and, you know, putting it all together with, like, what I have learned about shadow people and stuff like that. Like, maybe they're ghosts. I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know if that means that they're negative or positive, or if seeing them means that it's negative or positive. I don't know all that. I know that when I saw it, like, I felt scared, but I can't say that I was scared from the thing's energy, because it was just sprinting. Like, it was minding its own business from what I saw. From what I saw, it was just minding its own business, running. Like, it did nothing bad to me. I was only scared because it startled me. And, you know, after that day, like, I had to still take that walk many times, and I would walk faster, like, in that area, and tried to not look because I was scared of seeing it again. But which kind of sucks, because, like, when I think about it now, like, I want to see it again, you know? Like, in fact, I kind of want to go back there and see if, like, you know, I can, I don't know, connect with it or something, because I'm a lot more open to that kind of stuff now. And, like, you know, we don't know if there is another realm out there with things there, whatever they are, entities, ghosts, like, aliens, like, you know, we don't really know for sure, like, their intentions, and we can't just assume that they're bad. You know, this might have just been a person that lived. It might have been one of, like, you know, one of the slave family members or something like that. Like, and yeah, like, yeah, so that's my story. And kind of, I wanted to talk about, you know, like, all the realizations and all the different parts of it, and all the different like, ages through this, because this was, like, a 13-year journey kind of for me, and it still is, you know. And so I might post more videos, like, about, like, topics like this in the future. Probably not looking like this, because I've been, you know, wearing this makeup for, like, 12 hours, and I'm not looking my greatest right now. I'm kind of just bumming out at home. But yeah, like, I might talk about this stuff again, because it's really interesting to me, and I think I would be interested in connecting with people that are also into this kind of stuff, and, like, that are open, but, like, you know, not too crazy too. Like, I like looking at things kind of, like, rationally, but I also really have a big imagination, so I love to challenge my thoughts, and, you know, about the universe and how it works, and how, like, reality works and stuff like that. That stuff is really interesting to me. And I hope to explore more of that, you know, in the future somehow. So anyway, so that's my video. So I hope, I don't know, I hope in the very least, like, I don't know, I don't care. Like, I don't really have much hope with this except for maybe connecting with people that have seen something like this before, or putting my experience out there so then I can also maybe like reach out to people that are into this topic. Like, that's cool, because like I don't know enough people that are really into this kind of stuff and in my personal life, and sometimes it can be kind of like isolating, and you know, because my friends are cool and like they listen and stuff and, you know, whatever, but like I said, like my family doesn't really like support any kind of, I guess, efforts put on my part towards these kind of topics, because they just don't think it's like a wise time of, or a wise investment of my time, which I understand, like, from anyone's perspective, but to me, like, spirituality and, you know, just reality, like the idea of what reality is, that's very interesting to me, and I feel like it always will be, it always has been, so it is a really big part of me. Like, there's a really big part of me, you know, that cares about all this. It's kind of like almost the most important thing to me. So yeah, I'm just out there to find out more, you know, like, and I want to find as much as possible. So on that note, thank you for listening, and in case you were wondering why my nails look so psychotic, it's because they are inspired by the movie The Substance. If you guys haven't seen that movie, it's really good. But yeah, I did them myself. I really love that movie. I was like, let's do some substance nails. So I would say I swear I'm not crazy, but I can't say that either. So I just want to show you guys my nails. Alright, bye!